but back to the car again.
Yeah.
But you're sitting on that back road with say, let's just call it a femoral bleed, and your response time could be 15 to 30 minutes or longer. And if you have a femoral bleed, how long does it take for you to bleed out? By volume,
depends on where you are.
Yeah. I mean, if you think by volume, the average adult, and we'll use gallons, has 1 to 1.5 gallons of blood. How long on a slow pour would it take to empty a gallon and a half? Okay, so self-aid. And if you can't reach a tourniquet,
you're done.
Do you have a rescue knife handy? Could you use your seatbelt? Then what are you going to use as your windlass? So it's just easier to have a small kit.
It is a rabbit hole
right there. Sure, it is, and it costs money.
Yeah,
you'll
wish you spent that money if you need it, though.
Yeah, and you may never use it. But think
I
about
hope you
this.
don't ever need to use it.
It might not be you. Excuse me. It might not be you. You might roll up on a wreck, and you could save someone's life.
I think about that too. Like, I mean, how many times have you gone down the interstate and there's just like, a wreck?
Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm going to look at it through different lenses. Obviously, as long as I worked in law enforcement, I've seen a lot of wrecks.
Right.
And tragic. I mean, really, really bad accidents where, with fatalities. And, it's always tough when you have kids involved in it. That's the toughest part. But, if I roll up on a scene, and, years back, we didn't carry tourniquets and stuff. We didn't even have first aid kits, in the cars.
Really?
No. Very few. We had a handful of, and they were the little typical metal box type, deal. But now, a lot of agencies issue AEDs,
first aid trauma kits and stuff,
and provide, some advanced training, at least to try to, stabilize someone until, the ambulance gets there.
Yeah.
But you gotta take the time, put some training in, learn about first aid.
Yeah.
And how to stop the bleed, because and it's not the accidents and stuff. What if you're outside? How many people do you know that have cut their fingers off or damn near on a saw?
Yeah.
What if you're working on something, a screwdriver slips, and so you stab yourself?
I've done that.
A box cutter.
Yeah, I've actually done it with a box cutter. Not recently, but years ago. Cut my damn hand open and was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And had to go get stitches.
We never mean to do any of that stuff.
Of course.
But things happen,
shit.
And so, but you gotta put the time in and read books, on various stuff. Sometimes you'll learn what not to do. Not everything's gonna be a great learning experience. But you that comes with experience. You learn what to filter.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
And learn, what works, I'm sure some of the stuff I teach, people they have their own way. They have their own vision of what they want, but that's okay. Cause I know what I'm teaching has continuity with other things as far as it's, industry, kind of an industry standard, if you will. Well, I've learned that through training different things in martial arts. There's things that are consistent across lots of different styles. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's the same there too. Like,
but what do we get hammered into us in martial arts? Humility.
Yeah.
Humility.
Yeah.
It's okay to say, hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
I say that more than I realize. I've come to people ask questions and I immediately think of that person who shall remain nameless, where I asked a question and they just made some shit up. And then having had experience, now I realize they were full of shit.
Yeah.
When they told me what they thought they knew.
Right.
And that's pops in my head and I'm like, don't be that person. Just say, I don't know. I will look that up and I will get back to you. Or I don't know. Let's go talk to so-and-so.